Get that money out of those IRAs and 401ks now. In this episode, we are going to address the question, what is the best strategy to use when the market crashes? I'm Doug Andrew, and I'm going to share with you some insights that most financial advisors probably don't have, and therefore they cannot give you this opportunity when the market is down. So you're probably familiar that recently we've had a lot of anxiety. This happens throughout our lives. I'm actually recording this YouTube episode during this coronavirus, the COVID-19 social distancing sort of era, if you remember how that feels. This also caused the whipsaw in the stock market, and people got extremely anxious about seeing their savings dwindle in value by at least 1/3 because the Dow Jones went from about 30,000 down to 20,000 mid-February of the year 2020 down to mid-March, and they saw 33% of their hard-earned savings go down in value. That's a market crash. I have a friend, Richard Rossi, who's a fellow member of the Genius Network that I belong to, and he has a saying. He said, when there's anxiety, there's opportunity. So in this episode, I am going to share with you a huge opportunity because now may be the perfect time to get money out of those IRAs or 401ks. And I'm going to explain 5 benefits that you may want to consider to get money out while we have a market crash. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist for more than 45 years, but most importantly, most of my clients view me as a tax strategist. And so I'm going to give you 5 critical action steps that you may want to consider taking whenever the market crashes. This, number 1, is the opportune time to consider getting some or maybe all of your money out of those yet to be taxed IRAs and 401ks. Why? While the values are lower and the tax rates are lower. Hello? But let me tell you the problem. Most people get caught up into the mentality, well, I've got to hunker down and wait this out, and hopefully my money will come back up to the highest watermark that it had. And I'm going to give a few examples of this. But when values are lower, would you rather pay tax? Because on a tax-deferred IRA or 401k, you're going to have to pay taxes sooner or later. And if you thought you were going to be in a lower tax bracket till later, no, taxes will likely be higher in the future. So I would rather pay tax when my account values, if they were 900,000 before the crash and now they're 600,000, I'd rather pay tax on 600,000 rather than the 900,000 or wait till I get back to that high water mark. And people say, well, then what do I do with the money? I'm going to share with you what you should do next after you pay the tax and get it out of that tax deferred vehicle, get the taxes over and done with, while the values are lower and tax rates are lower. So most people agree that taxes will likely be higher in the future. And so your current tax bracket is likely the lowest bracket you will ever be in. So you want to get the money out of those qualified accounts, those tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks, when your account values are lower, and also when the tax rates are probably the lowest they will ever be in your life. And then the critical step number 2 is to then reposition that after-tax money into vehicles that are tax-free. You want to ride the market back up again on a tax-free basis. Why would you want to ride the market back up again with Uncle Sam as your partner and they get 1/3 of all that gain? My heavens, take care of your partner, buy them out, pay your tax, and ride the market back up again tax-free. So I'm going to give you step number 3, which is where you can get a tax-free rate of return and not have a qualified plan like an IRA or 401k because it's far superior. I would strongly recommend that you consider putting some or maybe all of your after-tax money as a rollout, not a rollover, from your IRAs or 401ks into what I call the laser fund. Now, there are 4 different places that most people draw from in retirement, but most of my clients for 45 years put between 40 to 60% of their retirement resources in what I call the laser fund. And a properly structured and maximum funded laser fund can provide the ultimate liquidity. If you need the money, you can get it without IRS penalties, safety, so that when the market goes down, you don't lose, and predictable rates of return that are usually double what most IRAs or 401ks in the market earn. Most earn about 3.5% to 4% after the ups and downs. I have averaged actually 8.2% for 45 years and 10.07% for the last 25 years in my laser fund. And the best thing is it's tax-free to boot. So the 4th thing to consider when the market is down or after a crash is to use indexing strategies. Now, I'm not talking about indexed funds. An index fund would be like the S&P 500, where you're buying a mutual fund that is sort of diversified through the Standard & Poor's 500. No, you're subject to market loss again. What you're doing is you're linking your returns to an index such as the S&P. Your money's not actually in the market. It is simply linked to the market. And this is why I wrote an entire book about this topic, but this is what I've used since 1997. The point is, if you take care of the tax on those IRAs or 401ks, roll the money out, you don't spend it. Now you take the net after tax and put it into a tax-free vehicle like the laser fund. But one of the greatest features in the laser fund is indexing. So what you want to do is ride the market back up again, totally tax-free. But guess what always happens? There are other crashes. The neat thing about indexing is when the market crashes, and it always does, you will not lose next time because your money's not in the market. It participates when the market goes up, but you do not lose when the market goes down. And now you're protected from that market volatility that got you in that position in the first place. But you seized the opportunity to get the money out. So let's go to the 5th opportunity you need to consider. So number 5, learn how strategies like indexing and tax-free accumulation and tax-free access can benefit you and what the laser fund is all about, because it's my favorite financial instrument in over 45 years where I can eliminate the dangers of taxes going up, because taxes are going to continue to go up in the future. Hello, we have Congress passing economic stimulus packages and bailouts, and we have a lot of people that are, hey, 50% of America wants Medicare for all. They want college tuition forgiven. They want free college. That costs money. So the General Accountability Office and the Congressional Budget Office estimates taxes are going to go up to 50, 60, 70% if we really buy into those ideas. And so you want to take care of taxes sooner than later, but make yourself immune from taxes from that point forward. That's why I use the laser fund. Number 2, you want to make sure you don't outlive your money because of the cost of living, healthcare costs, whatever it is. You want to protect yourself from inflation. So I don't like inflation any more than maybe you do, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me because I come along for the ride. I link my returns in my laser fund to the things that are inflating. So I get to come along for the ride. And the 3rd advantage of the laser fund is that when the market nosedives again, and it will, you will not lose. Sometimes you may not make anything in that year, but you will not lose. And this is where I've averaged returns of over 10% for the last 25 years, but it's tax-free to boot. And that's why I wrote the book, The Laser Fund. I would love for you to get a copy of this, and I'll pay for the book. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling, and I'll fire one out to you. And then I have also audio versions, digital versions, and even an 18-hour masterclass on this. But let me tell you why you want to study this. This could make a game-changing difference of an extra $500,000. For some of our clients, it's made a difference of $4 million in their retirement nest eggs. This is actually 2 books in one. See, there's this one and this one. This is the Left Brain, about 200 pages, 14 chapters with all kinds of charts and graphs and explanations. But if you're more right-brained, you make your decisions and learn more with stories and examples, you flip the book over and you read it this direction, and it's about 100 pages and 12 chapters with 62 like chicken soup for the financial soul stories. If you want to use your whole brain, you read both. But I would love for you to get a free copy of that book, and so go to laserfund.com. You can obtain a copy of this. I'll fire it out. I'll pay for the book. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling.